Life Reaper Brom. This guy is awesome, and it's not just because he looks amazing. He is incredibly powerful. His attack is actually the highest out of all of the characters. So Igorock, they've got some screen pop-up that says Igorock has the highest attack and defense. When you look at the stats, this Brom is actually slightly higher. He's quite a bit more fragile. His defense is quite a bit lower, and health is a little bit lower, but his attack is absolutely the highest out of all the characters in the game right now. So very nice. He's slow, undead, and a warrior. A lot of times you'll see the way they've set up the game, the fast characters are generally the weakest. If you went one-on-one against somebody, they would be kind of the weaker characters, but they get a benefit because they get to go before anybody else. And then the slow characters usually are among the best characters. They just have the negative of being slow. And I'd say that example carries true for Chief Nub, for example. He's got pretty good health and amazing abilities. He's just a very good character as well. And he's slow, and so that slow, even though it's a negative, they seem to have balanced those things out. So the way they balanced it with him is by making him incredibly powerful. If you look, this is one of the nice things. He's a 3-star character as soon as you get him, and for almost all the 3-star characters, you're not able to farm for their tokens. But here you can, and they're relatively difficult levels, at least for the level that you're at. So if you level your characters beyond that a little bit and then go back and farm for them, you can eventually get him up to higher star levels, even further increasing his stats. So that's a nice thing for him as well. We'll look at his stats real quick. You can see, even though it's not listed in his name, he's magical, so he takes less damage from non-physical attacks, which is great, make him a little more survivable. Lifeless, he doesn't get affected by poison or disease. And slow, that's then part of his name. As I mentioned, his attack is very high. His defense is maybe just moderate, but he does have a fair amount of health here. And I've got him at level 11 just to try him out, but pretty decent health. It takes quite a bit to take him out. You can see those resistances. So let's take a look at his abilities. This is another thing that makes him more interesting. So here's just his regular attack, and then Doomblade. So Doomblade, it says melee disease attack for a certain amount of damage, and this damage can't be healed. So what this doesn't tell you, though, is that this is a whole team multiplayer attack. So he does this massive damage to the entirety of the other team, and you can really see it come through if you're doing either campaign or on the PvP. Just massive damage. He has to actually make it to that turn. Being slow, everyone's going to go before him, but it is an enormous amount of damage, and that higher health helps him to last a little longer. Now, if you can get the next Ascension, which is going to be difficult with a few of these, you've got this Crypt Evo, and then 16 of these, this Monarch, the Dark Evo Monarch. But if you can get it, this is a really interesting skill here. So it says melee spirit attack for a huge amount of base damage, and then 21%, looks like both of those numbers will grow. At 21% might be even higher percentages further on, of the damage will come back as healing. I've never actually seen someone use this. It is fairly hard to get to this Ascension. I'm sure there are people that have it, but I haven't battled them in the dungeon at this point. I'm not sure if this heals the whole team or just him, but this could be incredibly powerful again in really turn the tide in a dungeon raid. So it would be very interesting to use there. So overall, very powerful. I could see him being used in, if that's a team heal, definitely in campaign as well. That would be an interesting use for him, but certainly as a dungeon raid member as well.